Toyota GR Corolla is one of the best new cars on the market. No matter the price, market segment, or manufacturer, I think about it every day. The jumpy acceleration of its buzzy little 3-cylinder engine, the firm thunk of its manual shifter, the rowdy spirit it brings to around-town drives and curvy roads. It is one of the most special new cars I have ever driven, and it's here, again, in my hands.
This is the 2025 Toyota GR Corolla Premium Plus, and I'm Alanis King. I think about this car every day of my life because I think it is so important to recognize when history is right in front of you. So let's go for a drive and stick around for the end of this video to get this GR Corolla's full report card. This is when I should tell you that this GR Corolla is actually an automatic, but I have extensive driving experience in the manual, so when we drive the car, we'll talk about how both transmissions drive.
The Toyota GR Corolla stems from a car called the GR Yaris. GR stands for Gazoo Racing, and the GR Yaris debuted as a tiny turbocharged 3-cylinder fireball with 257 horsepower. Toyota said it was a homologation model born to win the FIA World Rally Championship. Homologation specials exist to give race cars a tangible link to road cars, and everyone was stoked about the Yaris, except it wasn't coming to America. I've still never driven it. In 2022, Toyota introduced the GR Corolla, a hot hatch for America. It debuted with a 3-cylinder turbo, 300 horsepower, 273 pound-feet of torque, all-wheel drive, and only a 6-speed manual transmission. For 2025, it's also getting an automatic.
But it's important to experience a car's full lineup to be able to talk about it. And I often tell people that the manual Toyota GR Corolla is the most special, normal new car you can buy in America. That's because the GR Corolla fits into the hot hatch segment, which car enthusiasts love. But most cars in the hot hatch segment are front-wheel drive, roughly 300 horsepower, 4-cylinder vehicles. This is a 3-cylinder vehicle, making just as much horsepower, and it is all-wheel drive. It's got buzzy acceleration, and it is making so much power from such a small engine. The 2025 Toyota GR Corolla makes 300 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque through a turbocharged 1.6-liter 3-cylinder engine. All that power goes through either a 6-speed manual transmission or an 8-speed automatic to all 4 wheels. Now, this is a 1.6-liter, which means this car makes 187.5 horsepower per liter. That is the exact equivalent to the Bugatti Chiron, a 7-figure supercar with a W16 cylinder engine. That's incredible!
The 2025 Toyota GR Corolla comes in 3 trims: the Core, Premium, and Premium Plus. The Core starts at $38,860 American dollars. The Premium starts at $41,440, and the Premium Plus starts at $45,515. The manual transmission with rev matching is standard, the auto is $2,000 extra, and the car currently comes in 3 or 4 colors depending on the trim you choose: red, white, graphite, and black. Get the red. The top Premium Plus trim is new, and it basically combines a bunch of specialized features from past GR Corollas, like a carbon fiber roof, a vented bulge hood, and matte black wheels. You also get a standard head-up display on the Premium Plus trim, if you like that kind of thing.
The move from the 2024 to the 2025 model year is a big one for the GR Corolla. For the first time ever, this car has an optional automatic transmission. And even though we were all amazed at how much power this car made, Toyota has upped the standard torque from 273 to 295 pound-feet of torque. Toyota also says it has retuned the suspension for more cornering stability, redesigned the front bumper for better cooling, added some cooling components depending on which car you get, and the Torsen limited slip differential on the front and rear are now standard so that you're able to more smoothly and efficiently put the power down. This specific GR Corolla is a premium plus with an automatic transmission, making its starting price $47,515 American dollars. The supersonic red paint is $475. An added chassis brace is $720. Carpet floor mats and cargo mats are $299. Door sill protectors are $179, and a UV sunshade for the windshield is $110. All in all, with add-ons and fees, the total price of this GR Corolla is $50,433. I would not spec the GR Corolla this way. The manual GR Corolla I drove last year was the base model, and I remember not being impressed with the interior at all and thinking, surely for the $50,000 GR Corolla compared to this mid-$30,000 car, the interior is gonna rock. And it doesn't. So go for the base model unless you really, really need some performance upgrades. The Toyota GR Corolla is made for car enthusiasts, even if other people don't really know what it is. I often say that hot hatches, like the Honda Civic Type R, can be justified because they make the regular version of the car look cool. But in the GR Corolla's case, it's so new that people don't really know that it's different from the regular version. I have a race car driver friend who has a GR Corolla, and when he goes to work, people at work go, "Bro, why do you have a Corolla? And why does it have a carbon roof?" And I'll just say, I don't love the carbon roof on the GR Corolla. I don't know if it's the finish or the pattern or what, but it kind of gives me OSB plywood vibes, like linoleum vibes. I don't really know. I've seen this attitude toward the GR Corolla start to change. There is a camaraderie on the street with modern GR drivers, like the super driver who pulled up to me the other day and started talking to me about my car. And also, I'm seeing more GR Corollas in Toyota racing commercials, which makes them look cooler to a wider audience. But still, normal people do not look at this car and go, "Wow, you are cool for driving it." You just know you're cool for driving it, and other car enthusiasts do too. The Toyota GR Corolla is an all-wheel drive hot hatch, and all-wheel drive hot hatches are basically rally cars for the road. Toyota says this car is inspired by the FIA World Rally Championship, and that means it looks right at home in all kinds of terrain, like the snow. I also recently got to test cars in the snow with our YouTube partner Magna, and it was super cool, and I got to do a lot of donuts.
Magna brought 4 cars to our winter test, including a production Chevy Blazer EV, which Magna makes the rear drive unit for, a production GMC Yukon Denali, which Magna makes the transfer case for, and 2 demonstrator vehicles, the Hybrid E-Telligent Command and Electric E-Telligent Terrain, which are cars that Magna purchased and put their own powertrains and technology in. Automakers and suppliers do extreme weather testing in all kinds of different climates, like a snowfield when it's -8 degrees Fahrenheit. They'll take their cars and technology out into the elements and test them to find ways to improve, so that their parts will not only be able to thrive in normal driving, which most people will do, but also severe weather driving. We spent the day at winter testing with Magna engineers, which is cool because it means the people making those parts in your car are actually out in the field testing and perfecting them. Not only does this benefit the consumer, but it also means that engineering can be extremely hands-on, including a little fun in the snow.
Thanks to Magna for bringing us out to winter testing, and thank you all for making partnerships on this channel possible. We have now made it to the most important part of our day, which is how many Atlantises can fit in this Toyota GR Corolla's trunk? And can Atlantis lock the keys in the trunk? Now, if you have watched this channel for a long time, you might know that we did this last year, and you might know how many Atlantises fit in the trunk. I purposely didn't check how many I gave it last year, so I would give it an honest rating this year. Okay, you can lock the keys in the trunk. I'm gonna give this 1 1/2 Atlantises, and there's no trunk button on the key, so if you lock yourself in here, you need someone to get you out. It's time to drive the Toyota GR Corolla. And I want to talk about multiple things during this driving portion. I want to talk about what the GR Corolla is, what its interior is like, how the manual version of the car drives, how the automatic version of the car drives, and also how I compare it to other hot hatches on the American market, like the Hyundai Elantra N and the Honda Civic Type R. And we're gonna start with what this car is. I believe that Toyota has long been the most versatile car maker, at least on the American market. Over its history, we have all kinds of vehicles, like the Toyota Hilux truck, the Toyota Century chauffeur car, the Lexus LFA, the Toyota Supra, and even just on the modern American car market, we have the Toyota GR Corolla, the Toyota GR86, the Supra, the Lexus LC500, and you can get a manual off-road Toyota Tacoma. That is incredible, the range of enthusiast cars you can get, including this one. And I think the Toyota GR Corolla is very special because when you look at the hot hatch market, typically it's a front-wheel drive, 4-cylinder vehicle, and it's a vehicle with a long legacy. A car like the Honda Civic Type R or Subaru WRX, those have long histories behind them. The GR Corolla is the new, childish, 3-cylinder, 300 horsepower hot hatch, and it is wild, and we are so lucky to have it. Now let's move to the interior. When I drove the Toyota GR Corolla last year, I drove the base model Core, and the interior in that car was basic and kind of 2010s like, and just very, very not great, especially for a mid $30,000 car. And I thought, you know what? The higher trims of the GR Corolla, I bet they have good interiors. I bet they're way better than this. A $50,000 GR Corolla, there's no way it has an interior like this. And I got in this car, which is the top trim of the GR Corolla, and I thought, they sent me another base model. And then I went, no, those are not the base model seats. Oh my gosh, this is the top model. And it looks way too reminiscent of the base model, which had a terrible interior for the base model. So in my opinion, this interior, not at all worth $50K. It's the car that's worth $50K, but I will say the small steering wheel is really, really nice. In this car, you do not have a sunroof, which means you have room for a helmet. If you're like 5'11", 6 foot, you could probably fit a helmet in here. I'm 5'8.5", I have plenty of room. But that is really where the compliments end. After that, I look around, there's way too much piano black in here. There is absolutely no armrest or center console. I have nothing to put my arm on. So if you take this on a road trip and you want to rest your arm, no, not in the $50,000 version of this car. Absolutely not. The seats in this car are very straight up. They're not the most comfortable for driving around town, but when you're on a good road, they do hold you in because they have these bolsters. You also have seat heaters in this car, and you have 2 options for settings. Well, 2 options plus off. You get high, low, and off. And I put the seat heaters on high, and I don't even know that they're on. And me, I like some hot seat heaters, and these are not it. The backup camera on this car is an absolute potato. You would have better luck looking behind you with a Motorola Razr, and there's not a lot of room in the back seat, but that's to be expected. This is a very small car. Overall, on the interior of this car, I expected higher trims to feel so much better than the base model that I had last year. And this does not feel significantly better than the base model. So I would say if you care about interior comfort, it's not worth it to go up in price. Just get the base model because it's not enough of an improvement. In the manual version of this car, first gear is a very jumpy acceleration. It's like a yappy little dog. It's just like, arf, arf, arf. Second gear, you drop it on down in a second, and it has this really strong acceleration pull. And it is a super satisfying movement to go from first to second gear and just feel that acceleration kick in. And the car just feels very jumpy in any situation that you're in, whether you're driving around on the good road or you're driving around town. It feels so good in the manual. Do I get that same feeling in the auto? No, the auto does not feel as jumpy, and that's probably because I am not the one who's shifting it into first gear and feeling that jumpy acceleration. If you're driving around town in the auto, it's pretty quickly going to shift through those gears, so you don't get that same jumpiness as you go along the acceleration curves and into each gear. And that's sad, and I think that takes away a lot of the experience of this car around town. Driving the manual GR Corolla ultimately feels like being in a rally video game. And the auto does to a degree, but it's also just not as fun in my opinion. And we're gonna talk about that now. I do want to start by saying that having a manual focused enthusiast car get an auto is a good thing. I think it opens the car up to more people. People who either can't drive stick because they haven't learned or can't drive stick because they have chronic pain or something like that. People deserve to get to drive enthusiast cars like the GR Corolla, and I like that the automatic opens them up to that. This specific 8-speed automatic, Toyota says its software is designed to pick up on your inputs, clutch and brake, and use that to figure out which gear to shift into, especially on track. That way, the car anticipates what gear is most optimal to be in and shifts before you even need to. And the idea is for this to replicate what a professional driver would do. I always say that a really good automatic is going to be way better than you and way better than me in a manual on track. And you can still drive a manual on track if you want. I love driving manuals on track. But a good automatic is going to shift way better than either of us, unless you happen to be Lewis Hamilton. And if you're Lewis Hamilton, you'll probably be all right. If you're looking for highway comfort in this car, the lane assist is pretty good, like all Toyota lane assist systems, but the suspension is pretty stiff. It's not Type R stiff. That car will just shake you up like a milkshake. But it is very stiff, so if you're looking for highway comfort, you'll get used to it, but you won't just be on a cushy pillow. Another thing I've noticed while driving this car is that it just doesn't feel as fast as I remember. It has more torque than the last car I drove, but the last car was a manual and it just felt more engaging, I guess, and felt faster. This car actually doesn't feel that fast. I totally get the auto is going to be faster than me at shifting. But on a good road and driving around town and dailying this car, if you're someone who likes to drive stick, I don't think the auto is quite going to live up to what you're expecting in the GR Corolla. GR Corolla manual is in my holy grail top new cars I have ever driven in my life. The auto actually exposes flaws that I probably didn't notice while driving the manual because the manual was so much fun. For example, I think this car, for being all-wheel drive, actually has quite a bit of understeer. It feels like it has more understeer than the Hyundai Elantra N. Like, the Hyundai Elantra N feels good in a corner. And I also think that the automatic transmission in the Elantra N is just a lot more rewarding to drive. It just feels better, and I also feel like I have more control over the paddles. Like, I don't have the transmission fighting with me about what is most logical and what gear is best to be in. You know, once I get up to speed on a good road in this car, it's like, I'm up to speed, I'm there. There's not much else to do. The steering in this car is quick, the corners are great, and overall, it's a really good package. I just feel like I was so in love with the manual version of this car, and it feels like something is missing right here. If you haven't driven the manual and you love automatics, you will probably get in this car and go, wow, this is awesome, I love it, I don't need anything else. I've felt the manual in this car, and this does not bring me the same emotion. It does not bring me the same driving feel, the same visceral feeling when I go through the corners. That is not here in the auto, and I miss it. I do think it's important in ending this driving section to talk about the GR Corolla versus its competitors. We're going to break this into two categories, the manual GR Corolla and the automatic. The manual GR Corolla I think about every day of my life. I dream about that car. It is so amazing. It is the best. And when I look at it next to a Honda Civic Type R or a Hyundai Elantra N, I think the Elantra N is a similar price. It starts at about $34,000, whereas this starts at $38,000 in the manual. And the Elantra N is a very fun car. I absolutely recommend it, but the shifter action in that car is not as satisfying. It's a very light thunk. Also, the pedal action is not as satisfying. So you have your shifter wiggling in gear, light thunk. The pedal, it just takes a lot of gas getting into first gear in the Elantra N, and the GR Corolla has that heavy thunk that just feels super satisfying, and I love it. Compared to the Honda Civic Type R, which starts at $46,000, the Toyota GR Corolla feels less refined, more adolescent, sillier, and I really like that. I love the Honda Civic Type R, and I will be obsessed with it for the rest of my life. But it feels more mature, and the GR Corolla just feels jumpier and sillier and yappier, and I really, really love the manual in this car. Automatic GR Corolla is a different story. I'm going to only compare it to the Elantra N because the Honda Civic Type R does not currently have an automatic option. The Hyundai Elantra N's automatic is actually really rewarding to drive. It shifts super fast. The car feels great to drive. It's awesome on track. I was on this exact same road in the Elantra N, and there was just something about the way that car feels. I just feel so much more one with the car on a good road in the automatic Elantra N than I do in a GR Corolla. I don't know. The automatic really changes the nature of this car, in my opinion, and makes it a lot less silly. And when I want an Elantra N or a GR Corolla, I want it to be silly. And I'm not feeling that silliness right now. Now that we've driven the 2025 Toyota GR Corolla, it's time to give it a grade. Welcome to Alanis' report card. The exterior on this car gets an A. Last year, I gave it in the B's. That is because I was in denial. This car looks so good. I get so excited every time I see it, and it is the best a Corolla could possibly look. The interior, on the other hand, gets a C-. It is not very good in there. It is not very comfortable in there, but you get used to it really, really quickly because the performance is so great. The performance on this car is an A-. I absolutely love how this car drives and is one of my favorite cars I have ever driven. But it gets points off because this one is an automatic. The value on this car is a B for the entire Corolla lineup. It is in line with the price of other hot hatches, but it's still not great in terms of value, especially when you have a $50,000 one. Would I take this car on a road trip? Not particularly, not on purpose, but I would daily drive this car, and that would lead to me taking it on road trips. The suspension is not great. The seats are very, very straight up, and you don't have an armrest to rest your arm on, which isn't the best. And overall, this car gets a B+. It is an amazing car. Again, one of my favorite cars I have ever driven, but the interior really brings the overall grade down.
The Toyota GR Corolla is one of the most special new cars on the market. It's the kind of car that in 30 years we'll all be reminiscing about. We'll say then what we say now, that we cannot believe this car ever existed.
A 300 horsepower, 3-cylinder, manual all-wheel drive rally hot hatch feels too good to be true, especially on the American market. Yet here it is, right next to me and right in front of you. And we are so lucky that it's here.